Good morning. Seems like a lot of folks stayed out late, maybe, so we'll see as the crowd fills in and rolls in and coffee's pouring. But I'm excited to help kick off day 2, and I think it's an important part of the arc of the conversation and the idea that we're going from minerals to market and thinking not only about how do we create a robust and secure supply chain that's going to create the future of transportation, but also how do we succeed in implementation. If you aren't familiar with the EC, we started our work in 2008 and wrote the Electrification Roadmap, and it was really a foundational document that helped articulate the policies and actions that we need in order to hit that transportation electrification goal. We create real-world programs across the country, getting our hands dirty so we understand the real challenges and opportunities. At this point, we work at the local, state, and federal level. And I want to start by, or I guess in the middle of this, start by thanking our staff and our partners who do their hard work every day to make this possible. That includes our ECBC partners, the Electrification Coalition Business Council. It includes the Electric Freight Consortium. We've just kicked off something called the Port Electrification Network. And these are all moments of convening where we bring partners together to help stimulate action and impact. So again, thank you to all of you for being such an important part of our work. So the reason we do this, and we've talked about it yesterday, and we're going to continue to talk about it today, but is the economic and national security impacts that exist for our transportation system. And so oil still has an incredible monopoly on transportation, and that means every year it puts us in the face of countries and others who don't share our democratic values and ultimately can manipulate price and supply. And so electrification really represents one of the best scalable alternatives for how we're going to reduce and basically remove that stranglehold and that monopoly on our transportation sector. In addition to that, transportation has also become the largest contributor to GHG emissions. Transportation is also one of the biggest impacts to our most vulnerable populations because of public health and the emissions that come from tailpipes. And so not only is transportation or electrification an important part of solving all of those problems, but now it's also a globally competitive opportunity. The market is rapidly ascending, and we're seeing that through the challenges and the opportunities that come from our other countries like China, who are obviously waging in very heavily into this space. And if we don't hit the accelerator, we're going to not only lose on the dependence on oil, but we're also going to lose U.S. and allied leadership within the transportation sector. Just to give you an example, the numbers are increasing really rapidly. So we're already at over almost 30 million EVs on the road right now, and every year we're seeing the market increase year over year. That isn't to say there aren't challenges. There are. We're seeing incredible wins against us politically. We're seeing challenges with technology at different points, but we're also seeing huge steps forward. And these are not all. Not all of these challenges are realities. We're seeing impacts where we're starting to see the steps forward for the growth year over year. So just in the U.S. alone, in December in 2022, when we talk about the idea of maybe we're seeing lagging sales, just in 2022, we had a year over year increase of 30%. And I think that demonstrates that we're still seeing huge strides and huge steps forward with transportation electrification. Not only that, technology is making huge leaps forward. Charging is getting faster every day. We're seeing ranges increase. And I would give you an example. My family, during the pandemic, we actually drove from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where I live, in our EV, and we drove to Moab, Utah, so a round trip of 4,000 miles. And it was a seamless experience. The kids had a great time, and I think it demonstrates how far we've come and how capable the technology is. That being said, we also now have new generational level investments in the U.S. through the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and it's stimulating incredible action. It's reshoring and building manufacturing capacity in the Carolinas, which you'll hear shortly from Governor Cooper, but it's also stimulating action across the country. It's creating jobs. It's creating circular opportunities where we're getting set up to recycle this next generation of vehicles. And then it's also stimulating private sector investments at staggering levels. Just at this point, we're already over $300 billion of private sector investments in the U.S. alone in the transportation electrification sector. And this is really starting to move the ball forward, but we have a lot of work to do in the coming decade. So today is going to be an important conversation. We're going to talk about how do we drive electrification at scale. We'll get into the specifics of the politics of the funding, of the different business models, of how we're going from light-duty vehicles to medium-duty to heavy-duty, and everything in between. we're going to talk about the policies and actions that we need to make this the decade of change for transportation. And I think at the end of the day, this is going to be about the idea that right now we're at that stage of the hard work. This is a huge transition and an overhaul of one of the biggest parts of our economic system. And so the next decade has a big opportunity for us to create the future of transportation. And it's not a question of if it will be electric, it's just a question of when. And I hope all of you will be a part of helping us accelerate that so much faster. So thank you. At this point, I'm going to transition very quickly, and I'm excited to be here to introduce Governor Cooper. So the governor made the trip up to join us today, and he is serving his second term as North Carolina's 75th governor. If you aren't aware, the state of North Carolina really represents a place that has everything from the minerals to the infrastructure to the OEMs that are building vehicles, both from a light duty standpoint to heavy duty. And so he was born and raised in North Carolina in Nash County, where he attended public schools, earned his degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which I live just down the street from. And since taking the office in 2017, he's worked tirelessly across party lines to build unique coalitions that led North Carolina to expand Medicaid after years of opposition. He's also helped North Carolina set records with tens of thousands of new jobs and revitalizing rural communities. He's also taken strong action to fight climate change and make North Carolina a leader in the clean energy economy. And finally, Governor Cooper is focused on ensuring that North Carolinians have opportunities to grow and thrive, and that the state's best days are ahead. So please join me in welcoming Governor Cooper to the stage.